Good morning to our Victorian cybersecurity community and welcome to the fourth and final webinar in our US cybersecurity trade program series, Geographies of Cybersecurity, Exploring US Clusters. My name is Troy Toohey and I'm Trade Manager within the Technology, Health and Sport team at Global Victoria, the State Government of Victoria's Trade Facilitation Agency. Firstly, as we're viewing this webinar from different locations, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the various lands on which we are meeting. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and the elders of other communities who may have joined us on this webinar today. Those of you that have joined us for the previous sessions will know that this series is part of a wider cybersecurity initiative that we're delivering in the first half of 2025. If you are unable to join us for our first three webinars, I'd recommend checking out the recordings. From the first session, you can learn more about capital raising and legal and regulatory issues. The second session focused on the US defense industry, particularly the role of defense primes. And the third session, which I believe was the best session to date, has some great insights from cybersecurity decision makers in corporate America. Today's session is going to take a slightly different form to the previous webinars. Aside from being stuck with me as host, each of today's speakers is going to present a PowerPoint for their respective content and will answer any questions towards the end of the individual presentations. You have access to put anonymous questions in the Q&A function in MS Teams, and you can also communicate via the chat. First up, we'll get a brief overview of the geographies of cybersecurity clusters in the US from my Washington, DC-based colleague, Daniel Halpin. Then we're going to follow the setting sun and hip-hop rivalries from East Coast to West in the US, and jump into presentations from agency representatives from three key US cybersecurity clusters. We'll hear from Anne-Sophie Mahle, Director of International Partnerships at the New York City Economic Development Corporation, Deirdre Collins, Business Manager, Software and Cybersecurity at the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and finally, Mohideenbasha, Technology, Risk and Resilience Manager in the Office of Cybersecurity at the San Francisco Department of Technology. Let's kick things off and over to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Troy. Good morning, everyone, and afternoon, evening, depending on where you are. I'll keep this short, both so that we can get to the content that you're here for, and also so that I can quickly move on from that picture of me. So we're delighted to be joined today by speakers for some of the top cybersecurity clusters in the United States. Two of the major considerations that companies face when they are first entering the US market is where they are going to set up their presence in the US and also where they're going to focus their business development activity. After all, the US is in many ways 50 different countries in one. We at Global Victoria can help you with getting this information you need to help you make informed decisions on issues such as these. As you can see from this map, we have 4 locations across the US, including 3 locations in the geographies that we are going to be hearing from today. So we've got our office in downtown San Francisco, office in Midtown Manhattan, and also one in Arlington, Virginia. New York, Virginia, and the San Francisco Bay Area are obviously 3 of the top destinations for overseas cybersecurity companies looking to expand their businesses into the US market. For a variety of reasons, many of which our speakers will touch on today. Many of the company speakers and issues from the first session are connected in one way or another to these 3 geographies. And in all honesty, we could spend the whole hour looking at any of those ecosystems individually. So I'd encourage you to reach out to the relevant stakeholders to learn more when the time is right for you. As well as the 3 clusters we are spotlighting today, we have had speakers from across the country involved in our previous 3 webinar sessions, including from Massachusetts, Ohio, Illinois, and Colorado. There are clusters and markets across the US that may be the right fit for your company, and a big part of the US market entry journey is identifying what is right for you. Beyond the support provided by Global Victoria, there are many ways that you can find useful support information or advice to help you make these decisions, from Austrade's landing pad program to local experts like our speakers today, to online tools such as CyberSeek, whose data we used on the slide you see here. There are plenty of resources available to support your decisions, so please feel free to reach out to myself and Troy to help you find the support you need for your US expansion plans. Finally, before I pass you over to Anne-Sophie, I just want to give a quick plug for our upcoming market entry document, which we are developing as part of the program that Troy just outlined. The document will include information on many of the cybersecurity clusters in the US to help you better understand the state of the industry this side of the Pacific. Okay, that's enough for me. So first off today, we're going to look at the cluster in NYC with Anne-Sophie from the New York City Economic Development Corporation. Please do use the Q&A function to share any questions you may have. And over to you, Anne-Sophie.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, Troy, for including EDC in this presentation. Very excited. Thank you to Global Victoria, the government of Victoria, for giving the spotlight to EDC among the other top as one of the top 3 clusters for cybersecurity here in the US. So again, my name is Anne-Sophie Mahle. I'm the Director of International Partnerships at the New York City Economic Development Corporation. I have 15 to 20 minutes to talk a little bit more about what's happening around cybersecurity, around the tech sector here in New York, to introduce the New York City Economic Development Corporation to you and ways in which you can partner with us once you're interested in coming here. We work really closely with Global Victoria in New York. So think of us as a partner, as a complement to what they're doing, and reach out anytime, either now during the chat afterwards or afterwards if you have any questions about this presentation. I hope you see the next slide. So again, the New York City Economic Development Corporation is the official economic development arm for the city of New York. Our overall mission statement is to create a vibrant, inclusive, globally competitive economy for all New Yorkers. That, of course, includes a lot of companies from Victoria that are interested in coming to New York. We tried to accomplish this in 4 different ways. The first one is through our business development team that you can work with one-on-one if you're interested in either opening an office here or in hiring locally. So there's around 70 or so tax incentives or tax credits that you can tap once you're interested in coming to New York. Within New York City, and I realize I'm going fast here, so again, jump in anytime. Within New York City, EDC is known as the largest commercial real estate owner in the city. So we own a really large real estate portfolio of around 66 million square feet of real estate across the 5 boroughs. And we take the revenue that real estate generates and reinvest it back into the city to build neighborhoods where people like to live, learn, work, and play, again, across the 5 boroughs, to deliver large-scale sustainable infrastructure projects. So this is, if you've seen the High Line or if you've seen Hudson Yards, some developments in the Navy Yard. So those are all EDC projects. And then lastly, we're using our real estate to grow innovation sectors that help us diversify the economy. So this is where cybersecurity comes in, because there's 3 main innovation sectors we focus on. So there's a bunch of industry programs that you can tap if you are in those sectors. Those are tech, AI, cybersecurity, the green economy, and life sciences. Essentially, this is what I said, but just put on a map. This map shows the different properties that EDC manages across the city. This is all real estate that you can tap if you're interested in coming here. Again, we have a very large operating budget. We have a $9 billion capital budget that we use over the next 9 years to reinvest back into the city and to grow those innovation sectors, including in tech. This is a quick step back, and I'll share that deck together with more statistics with you after this presentation. So when we look at the New York economy, we see that we're now in a very great position. We released, and this I'll share with you after this presentation. We just released a State of the New York Economy report that shows that we are currently at an all-time high of public and private sector employment. It's really the highest, it's a historic high. So it's a great time for you to come to New York, to think about different ways to partner with companies here in the city and to, again, hire locally, of course. And what additional stats I can add to that is that almost 30,000 businesses started in New York in the past year. So should you decide to come into New York, you're in great company. There's 1 in 8 businesses that have started here in the past year. So again, as Economic Development Corporation, and I'm just saying this because in case the audience is new to New York, this is important to us as Economic Development Corporation, is that when you think of New York City, it's important to not just think about Manhattan. And that, of course, also goes for cybersecurity, because there's really exciting opportunities in the outer boroughs as well. And really the main part of the population in New York City sits in those outer boroughs. So for example, Brooklyn is as big as Chicago. There's almost 3 million people living there. It's a very large tech hub in downtown Brooklyn. Queens is as big as Phoenix. It's the most diverse county in the US. So there's over 200 languages spoken there. The Bronx is as big as Philadelphia. It's home to 50 academic institutions that you can tap if you're interested in coming here. So for example, Fordham, but then there's also smaller ones. And then of course, Staten Island, which is actually as big as Atlanta. So don't forget about any of those kind of activities in those outer boroughs. And we'd be happy to help you navigate those different areas as you make the decision to come to the US and to think about New York. So there's 5 key ways to sum up this general introduction in which you can work with us. So the first one is if you are an individual business and if you want to come to New York and meet with us, happy to host you at our offices. Also, if you're a larger business delegation, happy to host you at our offices. You can use our business development services that I just mentioned in the beginning. Our industry programs are a way for you to work in our focus industries with us. So again, that includes tech and cybersecurity. You can rent our office spaces across the city at reduced tax rates or at reduced tax rates. And then lastly, if you want to do business with EDC, the only way for you to do that is through procurements. I didn't mention that in the beginning. I was too fast. So EDC is a quasi-governmental agency, which means that our president is appointed by the mayor of New York. Technically, we're nonprofit. And so as a quasi-governmental agency, anything that we do needs to be transparent. And that means that if you want to do business with us, it needs to happen through a public procurement. This is, again, an overview of how our business development team can help you. So reach out, again, anytime if you have questions about those services. They're all for free. So there's, it doesn't hurt to ask. I'm not going to go through them in too much detail because they fall into 2 main categories. The first one is, again, real estate. So, no matter how big or small you are, we'd be happy to help you find the right space in New York. And that means really anything from finding the right incubation space to if you're a larger company, to helping you with private site selection. So this is when we help larger companies put together tailored site selection tours across the city so they can figure out what the best office or manufacturing space would be for them in New York. There's also the other category is workforce development. So that means if you're looking to hire locally, we have a soft landing team that can help you connect with the 100 or so universities that exist in New York. There's almost 1 million graduates, recent graduates in New York, students or recent graduates in New York. So that's a great pool of talent that you can tap in New York if you want to come here, and we can help you connect with those universities if you want to come here. So I mentioned that in the beginning, and I'll be brief here, because when companies or when people outside the US think of New York City, oftentimes the thinking is that New York City is a hub for financial services. Really, in the past 10 years, New York City has established itself as the #2 tech hub globally. So, of course, the #1 sits in Silicon Valley. We are #2. All the major tech companies are located here. There's over 25,000 tech-enabled startups, 2,000 of them in AI, many of those in cybersecurity. There's over 100 tech incubators in the city, and the pool of tech talent is larger now than the pool of talent for financial services. So a few more. An example of the work that we do is a building that we opened at Union Square. It's called Civic Hall. So this is we opened that in November 2023 as a state-of-the-art tech training and event center. You see another picture here, and more details on the tenants that are located here. So this is the great space if you're looking to hire that, if you're looking for that first desk or office space in New York, to connect with a local tech and cybersecurity community. Again, Union Square, for those of you who don't know, is very centrally located in Manhattan. So it's a great, even if you're not looking for that first desk space in New York, it's a great way if you just visit New York to look at their website, to look at their newsletter, and I can send you the link to that after this. To look at the newsletter and to think about if any event is happening that you could join to again connect with the local tech community. There's also some VCs that are located there, such as Sequoia Capital. So again, a really good way for you to connect with what's going on in New York. So last example of our work is Cornell Tech. This is located on Roosevelt Island. It's a so Roosevelt Island is right in between Manhattan and Queens. This is a campus that we opened 10-15 years ago. This is a partnership between Cornell University and Technion Institute in Israel. Cornell Tech has been open and running. This is not operated by EDC, but we can introduce it to them. It's been up and running for 10-15 years now, and it has produced almost 600 spin-off companies, a lot of them in tech, AI, and cybersecurity in the past years since we opened it. So finally getting to cybersecurity. So as we heard in the beginning, New York City is really among the top 3 hubs clusters for cybersecurity in the US, with Silicon Valley and of course with the DMV area. And it's great to see that the 2 other speakers here in this webinar represent those areas. So you're really hitting all the right areas in the US. So cybersecurity goes back at EDC a few years. So we launched an initiative in 2018. It's called the Cyber NYC Initiative. That was a $100 million public-private investment, and that was operated by EDC. So the idea there really was to catalyze innovation and to create a lot of jobs around cyber over the next decade. Over COVID, then the funds that were directed at that initiative were directed away more towards other efforts, which is why a lot of those programs were paused or terminated. But still, the private sector has really taken over. So that means that still there's a lot of things happening there. The growth of the cybersecurity sector has really been strong, meaning that, again, New York ranks within the top 3 of places in the US for the sector. And there's a lot of companies that are headquartered here in New York. So even if there has been a slowdown during COVID, the private sector has really stepped in, and the growth of cybersecurity has really been strong still here in New York. And also there's 4 programs that are still up and running through that Cyber NYC initiative. The first one is the Cybersecurity Accelerator that's operated by Jerusalem Venture Partners. So they have so that was New York's first cybersecurity investment hub. And that is directed at growth stage startups, and that accelerator helps them facilitate access to clients and business support. It also now recently has a climate center as part of it, meaning that it adopted this new focus on sustainability and the green economy in New York. The second program is a cybersecurity bootcamp. So this is a program that supports New Yorkers with the right training to become part of the Cyber NYC workforce. This is important for New Yorkers, but also important for companies that want to come here, because that means that we're really doing our best to build the right talent here in the city. So if you're looking to come to New York, again, this is where our workforce development team comes in, or our soft landing team. This is the team that can help you connect with that talent that comes out of that graduates out of that academy. And similarly, CUNY, the City College of New York, this is the largest public college system in the US. They also have a new cybersecurity master's degree, similar to another degree at NYU, that again produces the right amount of the right pipeline of talent that can help you grow quickly here in the city. And then last, we have another internship program that supports the new generation around cyber in New York. So again, this is almost 1,000 students that have applied to this program that you can tap if you're interested in coming here. So these are all programs that are run. I'm going to go back quickly. These are all programs that just specifically look at cyber in New York that are run by EDC. Beyond that, there's a bunch of additional programs that you can tap that are not run by EDC that you can also tap if you're interested in coming here. For example, the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation, which you see at the bottom here, they run a lot of different programs around cybersecurity, and they run a lot of different programs around cybersecurity and the idea really is, and because we work really closely with them, is that if you are interested in coming to New York and then working here, reach out to us and we can help you make that connection, and we can help you figure out which ones of those programs could be most relevant for you. Also, cybersecurity for us is really closely linked with AI. I think this is most of the other global cities in the world as well. New York City is looking where really our advantage lies for AI in the cities. So we established that New York City's really unique advantage when it comes to AI is our position as global hub of applied AI. So this is when AI is applied to real world solutions, or to across industries in the city. I didn't say that in the beginning, but this is really where New York City's strength lies when it comes to AI, cybersecurity, and tech generally, is that New York is home to a lot of diverse industries, a lot of legacy industries, of course, a lot of tech, so really ranging again from financial services to insurance to legal. So all those industries, of course, will need AI solutions, are integrating cybersecurity solutions in their portfolio, meaning that New York really is the main place where companies go to commercialize their solutions. There's almost 90,000 people here that work in New York with AI-related degrees. There's, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, over 2,000 AI startups, and also a lot of Fortune 500s. This is the city with the largest number of Fortune 500 headquarters in the US that of course make great enterprise customers for you. So I'm going to close off by highlighting, this is the end, by highlighting some of the events that are happening here in New York. And again, no need to take notes here because we're going to send those to you. So we have, for example, New York Tech Week, which is happening each June in New York. So this is June 2nd to 8th this year. This will have some cybersecurity related events. So again, a great time for you to connect with the community. Another event is our AI Summit, which is happening each December. It's hosted at the Javits Center, which is New York's largest convention center. And then also we have CyberTech NYC, which is the local spinoff of CyberTech Tel Aviv, which is happening this year, in November. So yeah, would love to see you in New York. Reach out to us anytime if you have questions about the ecosystem or if you want to connect with our business development team when you're in New York or before then. And again, thank you so much to Global Victoria for including us in this webinar.
Thank you very much, Anne-Sophie, for speaking about New York City. Obviously, a lot of great stuff going on. I think the 5 boroughs thing is really interesting. Just having spent a lot of time in New York, a lot of stuff is going on in Brooklyn and Queens now that maybe 10 years ago there wasn't. So yeah, plenty to think about for our companies. Yeah, so I'm going to now pass this over to Virginia. So we're going to pass over to Deirdre from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership to discuss cybersecurity ecosystem in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Again, do throw any questions you might have for Deirdre in the Q&A function. If we don't have time to answer the questions, then we will get the answers to you after the session. So over to you, Deirdre.
All right, I'm assuming you can all see my screen. Fabulous, I got the nod. Good morning to those joining us from Australia, and good evening to my domestic friends here in the United States. I'm Deirdre Collins with the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. We are the principal state authority for economic development here in the Commonwealth. Our organization works across 16 plus traded sector industries alongside a large group of regional and local partners to support corporate expansion and relocation projects. My role on our knowledge work team focuses on supporting software and cybersecurity companies that are evaluating Virginia as a potential investment destination. This is my first time presenting in a webinar without being able to see any of my audience members, so I'm just going to assume you're all smiling and nodding along, maybe even chuckling a little bit, but probably not because I'm not that funny. But I do love Virginia, and I think that you will see why by the end of this presentation. To truly grasp the story behind Virginia's cybersecurity dominance, we need to travel back to about 1969, when the birthplace of the modern internet, ARPANET, was born at the Pentagon in Arlington County, Virginia. This groundbreaking moment really set the stage for the digital age. If we fast forward to 1985, AOL ignited the online revolution from Dulles, Virginia, putting the state at the forefront of technology innovation. Fast forward a little bit more to 1999, and Quinix launched the first IBX data center, further cementing Virginia's role as a powerhouse in the digital world. With our strategic location, proximity to the federal government, and really a perfect blend of visionary moments, Virginia has become not just a hub, but the recognized destination for cybersecurity companies that are really eager to make their mark on the world stage. Several decades later, Virginia continues to thrive as a leading cyber hub in the United States. For the sake of this presentation, I'm going to walk through our organization and the services we offer, our geographic strengths and the advantages with our digital infrastructure, the business climate that has secured our place as the recurring top state for business, some of the companies that have decided to call Virginia home, a little bit about our talent story, our approach to competitive business incentives, and then some additional resources we have beyond what our organization offers. I'm going to try to do all of this in under 20 minutes, so let's get to it. Whether you are choosing where to hire, your first U.S. sales representative, or if you're seeking a location for your first U.S. office, maybe you're already doing business in the Commonwealth, VDP has services available to support your success. As I mentioned, we work alongside a network of regional and local partners, and we're positioned to serve as a single point of contact within that network as you navigate the new landscape. We provide real estate and data-driven site selection assistance across all size and scale projects, and we offer support in identifying and attracting top talent to your organization. We usually structure customized incentive proposals to support your business case and really establish a long-term partnership between your business and the Commonwealth. To do all of this, we provide tailored research and data analytics to support the business case. And for existing Virginia companies, we have a nationally recognized international trade service to help you identify future export markets. As we begin to understand Virginia's assets for cybersecurity companies, we can start with arguably one of our greatest strengths, and that is our geographic location and technology infrastructure. As you can see on this map, Virginia is at the center of the United States East Coast with access to about 75% of your potential U.S. customers, clients, and partners, all within about a 2-day drive or just a quick flight. We've committed about $27 billion to transportation projects over the next 6 years, which is a major contributor to our win as a top state for business. And we're using these funds to continue to modernize key access points like Dulles International Airport, Port of Virginia, our highway and interstate system, and other transportation assets. In addition to the physical transportation networks, Virginia also has the densest fiber optic network in the world, with more than 2,000 miles of secure fiber infrastructure. In the same vein, as you'll see on this map, really in order to keep up with the substantial growing demands for internet traffic, much of which goes through Virginia, Virginia Beach is now the landing point for 4 new transoceanic fiber connection cables, making Southeast Virginia a digital port with the ability to ship data at the highest speed possible around our globe. Building on the rich history of federal investments in fiber optics, and thank you to some pioneering tax advantages, Virginia now hosts the largest data center market in the world and is home to more than 35% of all known hyperscale data centers in the world. As you can see here, they're concentrated predominantly up in that Northern Virginia region with some dispersion to the rest of the Commonwealth, but that region has become known globally as Data Center Alley. Also in Northern Virginia, but also spreading out beyond, you'll find unparalleled access to federal activity with more than 30 military installations, multiple federally funded research and development centers, agencies like CIA, NSA, DARPA, DHS, the Pentagon, even the U.S. Cyber Command operations, just to name a few of those agencies here in Virginia. That dense cluster you see in the southeast region is predominantly anchored by the world's largest naval base. That's Norfolk Naval Station down there in the Hampton Roads region. Now, in order to efficiently leverage all of these physical and digital infrastructure assets, Virginia has succeeded in establishing a stable and consistent operating environment for our corporate tenants. You've probably heard me say it a few times now, but Virginia has been nationally ranked as the top state for business, more frequently than any other state. We're the only state to have won it 3 years in a row, which is super exciting. And this is largely due to our business-friendly tax and regulatory policies. Contributing to that environment are a longstanding AAA bond rating, 45 years without change to our 6% corporate income tax rate. Companies operating here know what to expect and can confidently plan for their future. Virginia is known to be a purple state at both the state and federal levels. We have a balanced political environment, proven to succeed at coupling progress with stability, which we all know is a very challenging balance to strike. If we take a deeper look at the effective tax burden, you'll notice that Virginia's state and local tax burden is lower than the US average. That vertical line there towards the right side of my screen shows you that average. And it's also lower than most of our economic peers. Beyond our tax environment, the Northern Virginia region, which hosts most of our technology and cybersecurity companies, provides a lower than average lease cost for Class A office space than many of our competitor metro areas around the country. I limited the amount of data I included in this deck for the sake of time, but if there are additional data points you're interested in, please by all means send me an email and I can pull pretty much any data point you're looking for. Moving on, the many companies ranging from Fortune 500 companies to startups that have chosen to take advantage of this operating environment have established Virginia as a leading technology and cybersecurity ecosystem. In the past 10 years, we've seen more than 75,000 new tech jobs that have been accompanied by several $billion in direct capital investment by more than 560 tech companies. One of the most notable recent additions to our technology ecosystem is Amazon, with the establishment of their HQ2 in Arlington County, Virginia, committing to about 25,000 direct jobs and several billion in capital investment, along with seemingly unquantifiable residual contributions to the region, some of which I'll talk about a little bit more later in this presentation. But if we take an illustrative look at companies headquartered in our ecosystem, we can see Virginia companies that are leading the global cyber industry. Companies, like Booz Allen Hamilton, GDIT, Quokka in Northern Virginia, Lockheed Martin, Cerebrin in the Hampton Roads region. These companies are clustered predominantly in the Northern Virginia and Hampton Roads Southeast region. And this is due to proximity to many of the assets that I've already discussed. But if you'd look beyond this sampling, you'd see incredible diversity in the technology these companies develop and deploy, both on the commercial and defense side. You'll find companies that are working to protect all 16 of the US critical infrastructure sectors, that are innovating in zero trust or exploring the intersection of cyber and the physical world, engaging in incident response, really soup to nuts from a cyber standpoint. We all know that none of this happens without access to talent, and that is one of the biggest challenges in the cyber industry. Virginia has the highest concentration of tech talent in the United States, if you look at it based on location quotient. And we have the second highest number of cyber employees in the country, a close second to California, which is a significantly larger state than Virginia. So we're very proud of that. This workforce is available to companies within a reasonable salary range. It's on par or lower than our peer tech hubs across the country. Again, you'll get these slides so you can take some more time to look through these numbers. In order to continue to secure our long-term tech talent pipeline, Virginia, in partnership with Virginia Tech, George Mason University, alongside other private sector companies and with some philanthropic funds, have committed to more than $2 billion to double the number of annual computer science graduates coming out of Virginia universities. This investment is associated with our successful bid for Amazon HQ2 and has been realized already by the opening of 2 new campuses in Northern Virginia, the Virginia Tech Innovation Campus and the George Mason Institute for Digital Innovation. I'm also pleased to report that we're ahead of schedule on the increases in computer science graduates coming out of Virginia universities. These graduates are coming from world-class universities across the Commonwealth, including the 28 NSA DHS designated centers of academic excellence in cybersecurity, particularly in cyber OT, defense, and research. You'll see here that the clustering of cyber degree programs is consistent with both the corporate technology hubs we looked at before, as well as that data center dispersion on the earlier slide. A critical component of our cyber workforce is the veteran talent that call Virginia home. We have one of the largest veteran populations in the country, providing a skilled pipeline of thousands of veterans that are exiting the military and seeking civilian employment within the Commonwealth. In addition to that, given the nature of employment in the cybersecurity space, having access to security cleared talent is also a critical decision factor for companies that choose to locate and grow in Virginia. Our veteran talent, along with a large pool of defense contractors and federal workforce, provides a pretty robust pipeline of already security cleared talent, rapidly speeding up the employment process for hiring managers looking to scale their company. Connecting the dots across the talent landscape is a huge challenge for any ecosystem, which is why Virginia established what we call the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative, or CCI, which is much easier. CCI is a network of academia, industry, and economic development partners that collaborate on research projects, talent development initiatives, et cetera, to reduce the cyber skills gap and then enhance that cyber talent pipeline going directly into the workforce. Now that we have an understanding of Virginia's cyber ecosystem, we can transition to take a look at how the Commonwealth partners with businesses to support their presence in the market. Like many states, Virginia offers various discretionary incentive programs that are available to companies both new to Virginia and existing Virginia companies that are evaluating expansion and growth opportunities. Our approach to incentives is guided by our desire to remain competitive in the national economic development landscape while ensuring that our programs help companies address their foremost challenges. We evaluate eligibility for a majority of our cash grant programs based on things like net new job creation and capital investment over a ramp-up period, usually of about 3 to 5 years, but we have some flexibility to adjust that time period. Our incentive offerings are all performance-based, so we'll enter into a performance agreement on a project-to-project basis, and those agreements vary based on what locality you choose to locate in Virginia. I'm going to click through the next slides just to give you a look at 3 of the programs that we offer, but we have a much more detailed incentives guide that I'd be happy to send following this presentation. Probably our most widely used program is the Commonwealth Opportunity Fund. This is a pretty flexible cash grant that can be used to offset project-related costs, such as building uplift costs or costs associated with recruiting and training new staff. Similarly, the Virginia Jobs Investment Program is another widely used grant, but this one is geared directly toward hiring and onboarding new staff and offsetting costs related to those activities. The last one is just an illustrative example of a tax credit. We have several different programs under this category, but this is a tax credit specifically related to major R&D expenses. The last thing in this category I wanted to touch on is the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority. And while the EDP and our discretionary incentive programs do not provide project financing, the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority is a great resource for small businesses that need support with securing capital. And for those interested, I'd be happy to share some more information. As we close out, I just wanted to highlight some additional resources beyond what we offer in-house. The first is our Soft Landing initiative, which is launching in May 2025. We're super excited. This will be a state-sponsored international soft landing program designed to support international companies that are exploring the U.S. market but aren't quite ready to make a serious investment. The Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation is an agency we work very closely that is leveraging public and private technology investments to help develop our innovation economy, and they have about $250 million in investment funding available to emerging tech. And then these are just some illustrative examples of business development and networking groups that you could leverage should you come to Virginia. For several firsthand accounts of doing business in our cyber ecosystem, I direct your attention to our latest Virginia Economic Review, which just released this month, and it focuses entirely on the next era of cybersecurity in Virginia and beyond. Before I close out, I just want to reiterate a few key points. We started off discussing kind of the origin story of Virginia's cyber ecosystem, which is a legacy that began really at the start of the age of the internet. Through the transition to this digital era, Virginia has remained a stable and consistent business environment, investing in talent, allowing innovators to innovate and scale businesses on top of the digital infrastructure. And these are the businesses that are securing our world. Many of you might be aware of some of the uncertainty in our federal landscape, but the overall message we want to leave you with is one of confidence in Virginia's ability to navigate this and optimism that will emerge stronger. I really appreciate you giving me your time today. Please, please do not hesitate to reach out with questions, and all the best to you as you go forth and do business.
Deirdre, I'm hoping you can hear me this time. I'm hoping my mic is working. Oh, thank
Gotcha.
you very much. So we're back on board. Apologies for that earlier. Just one quick question that I did have. Many of those on this call actually joined our second webinar, which had a defence focus. And I was just wondering if you could maybe just talk a little bit to the strengths of Virginia in the defence sector.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to go back to that slide that I showed previously on some of the access to federal activity. Defense contracting is one of the largest industry sectors in Virginia, a large portion of that being in cybersecurity. There's been a little bit of concern expressed by some people around the reduction in funding for federal programs in the United States. And naturally, some of that trickles down into Virginia with the density of our federal contracting. But what I would like to note is that there is about to be about a $200 billion injection in defense spending. And so while the federal government is decreasing their investment in physical people working for the federal government, they're significantly increasing their investment in technology that is specifically for the warfighter or the operator, both from the cyber standpoint, but just on the innovation standpoint in general. So if you are on the defense side and you have an innovative technology, now is a better time than any to come to Virginia, as the federal government is really looking for that innovative technology to enhance their efficiencies and really drive our cybersecurity as a nation.
Excellent, thanks for that. And from that session, but a lot of our companies in that kind of early stage area were really keen to find out more about defence. So I think it's certainly something that Victoria is keen to pursue.
I would add one quick note as well. I have a colleague who focuses specifically on aerospace defense and innovation. So I'm happy to follow up with anyone directly and make that introduction. It's a direct line here at VDP as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for your presentation today, Deirdre. Virginia certainly makes an attractive offering both in cybersecurity and I think just in general doing business in the region overall. So thanks very much for your time. And I'm just going to pass over to Dan now, who will introduce our next speaker.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. So last but not least, we are joined by Banu from San Francisco's Office of Cybersecurity. As well as covering a bit on the ecosystem in San Francisco, Banu is also going to give us an insight into the work that the city and county of San Francisco does in the cybersecurity space, which I think will nicely link us back to some of the themes of the previous sessions.
So let me introduce myself. I'm Kamroonbany Mohideenbasha. You can call me as Banu. I am from the Technology Risk and Resiliency Manager at Office of Cybersecurity. It was great to hear from New York and Virginia about the economic and workforce development. So our city do also have a department focused on economic workforce development. If you like to connect me to them, I'm happy to do that. Today, I'm here to present about our city's Unified Cyber Command program, which is considered as a robust program across United States. And I'd like to share some insights on our program. That said, let me quickly walk you through our San Francisco ecosystem. First, we do have a bunch of public sector departments here in the city. Many city departments are now using digital platforms to deliver these services so that it's being reaching to the San Francisco public effectively. We are seeing increased adoption of IoT, AI technologies, data analytics, and GIS so that we can kind of have those technologies used in our city's operation. Second, the city benefits from its strong network of academic and research universities like UCSF, San Francisco State Universities, Stanford, and Berkeley play a big role in supporting research and development programs here in our city. We basically kind of work in partnership with these universities in order to do research in programs like AI, robotics, and privacy enhancing technologies, and so many other emerging technologies around drones and other things. Lastly, in our city, there is a strong civic tech and community engagement program, which kind of evolves around using technologies from startups. That we do have so many startup company here in San Francisco, and our city does business with them in order to use their solutions and technology for our city operations. So overall, like I will say, the San Francisco has a very diverse ecosystem. It does involve a lot of emerging technologies that are being called as a home for San Francisco. Moving on, I like to give a quick overview of cybersecurity efforts in San Francisco. First of all, we do have a strong public sector cyber resiliency program in place, particularly our San Francisco Office of Cybersecurity takes the lead for citywide governance on cyber risk and resiliency. One of the key tool around this program is doing a cybersecurity risk assessment, which involves evaluating our vendor solutions and also our city's internal operations. So if you are planning to do a business with San Francisco City Department, if you have a technology or service that you can offer to us, we kind of, before the procurement process, we kind of do an evaluation on your security controls that you have in place for your business or your organization, so that we understand the cybersecurity and we can work together in order to use your solutions for our city business. Secondly, our city invests in cybersecurity incident preparedness program. This program is considered as an robust program, and we kind of build a program which kind of considered as an example for other cities and counties in the United States. I can speak more about it in the following slide. And also we closely work with federal and state agencies such as CISA, FEMA, and state programs. We do receive some grant fundings from them in order to build a robust cybersecurity program here in our city. Finally, we also face some ongoing challenges and threats, and these include rising ransomware and phishing attacks, especially targeting city services and schools, and the complexity of securing hybrid work environment and the challenge of managing cybersecurity within the limited budget that we have at this moment. Okay, moving on into our city's cybersecurity incident response program. I know many of you might have been dealing with this challenge, basically the bridging the gap between your organization's cybersecurity professionals and other professionals such as emergency management. When we speak about cybersecurity incident response, these two key teams need to work hand in hand, but there's a lot of challenges having these two teams working together with respect to knowledge sharing, understanding each other processes and procedures. So we kind of worked on addressing this gap in San Francisco, and I like to share more about how we kind of bridge this gap in San Francisco to you all. First of all, we kind of worked on a training program for both for our cybersecurity and emergency management team. Basically, that training program was custom built, where our cybersecurity professionals learned on city's emergency management process. Basically, when there is an emergency in the city, we do activate an emergency operations center where all the city departments coordinate together in order to respond and recover from an emergency. So our cybersecurity professionals can learn about that process. Similarly, our emergency management professionals can learn about cybersecurity processes, such as like how does an incident is being handled during an incident. It's not like we just directly jump into recovery, but there is other things such as investigation is involved, containment, eradication, all those processes is involved before looking into an recovery, which is very different considered to other emergencies. So we kind of build together a program where a cross collaboration training is done as part of this program, and we kind of used some grant funding from federal in order to build this program, and this training program is open region wide here in San Francisco and also the neighboring cities and counties in our region. So we see a big interest for this training whenever we open up this training for our region participants, and all our neighboring cities and counties come and participate in this training and get to understand how things work during a cyber incident and bridge that gap between the emergency management and cybersecurity professionals. Here is a screenshot of the art training program that was put together. Basically, this is a 3-day training program, which includes lectures, collaborative group activities between the emergency management and cybersecurity professional. On day 3, there is a mini tabletop exercise that is done in order to they play their roles so that they understand how things actually work during an incident. I also put a link for our city's unified cyber command plan. This is a robust plan. We have kind of shared this plan across many cities and counties here in the United States because it's been well developed. I've added a link in there if you like to take a look into our city's unified cyber command plan. This plan does include a lot of actionable resources such as a checklist, which does tell you what you should do from begin to end of an incident. There is an information around the communication timeline, how an incident should be reported, who it should be reported, who needs to be involved, basically from investigation, from eradication and analysis, all those things. We do have a lot of actionable resources in our city's unified cyber command plan. I will strongly recommend you all take a look into our plan so that you can narrate anything that you like to build for your organization incident response plan. Then I like to share some key takeaways as part of us building this unified cyber command in our city. So basically what we recommend is bring the right people to the table. Don't just build a plan by yourselves. I will say bring people from your organization such as cybersecurity, emergency management professional, if possible, public safety departments together while you build this plan, and form a working group so that you can learn from each other what you should have in your organization cyber incident response plan that is appropriate for your organization to effectively respond to an incident, and clearly define the roles and responsibility for each of the player in the incident response plan. That is important. If they are not aware of their roles and responsibility, it would be chaotic during an incident for them to know what to do next. Also, we will recommend that please make sure to test your plan. That is key, because while you test your plan, you will understand are there any gaps or things that needs to be taken care, so that during a real incident you can you're having a right plan to use. So these are the key takeaways I like to share with you in order to build your organization's own incident response plan. That concludes my presentation, and I'd like to thank Troy and Daniel for giving me the opportunity to share our city's Unified Cyber Command Plan. Like I said before, if you like to know more about our San Francisco economic and workforce development, do let me know. I'm happy to connect you with our San Francisco economic and workforce development department to learn more about our San Francisco economic information. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Banu. I've just got one quick question. Quite a few of the people on this call will be heading to RSA conference later this month, and I know you've previously spoken at the Public Sector Day for Carasoft in recent years, and I was just wondering, do you have any recommendations for our companies on the call on how they can make the most of their time at RSA conference in San Francisco while they're there more generally?
Yeah, I really welcome you all to San Francisco if you are planning to attend the RSA conference. Yes, I have attended the RSA conference previously, basically like you guys to hear from a lot of organizations about their cybersecurity solutions and the programs that they have. I will strongly recommend you understand your interest in your program and make a checklist of what you like to see, and you're happy to come and visit our City Hall, which is located in Union Square, and happy to come and visit our San Francisco Department of Technology. We're happy to host you and share more about San Francisco during your time in the RSA conference. Unfortunately, we are not presenting this year in the public sector day, but we did last year, and I hope I can meet you guys and happy to chat with you if you like to know more about San Francisco cybersecurity initiatives.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Banu. It was great to get insight into the San Francisco ecosystem and the pivotal work that you do for your team in the city. And hopefully our Victorian companies will cross paths with you during RSA conference. So thank you very much. I'm just going to close up now, and I just thought I'd just start by kind of looking at kind of what do we take out of today's session. I think you need to put time into exploring which US location is right for your business and to service your customers, and it's necessary, and it has to have the necessary ecosystem to support your operation ongoing. There are organisations in the US with a vested interest like the ones that are on the call today to identify you and seek you for you to do business in their region. And whether it be advice, funding, access to personnel or infrastructure, there are programs available to make your entry and establishment in the US market a smoother transition than what it would be if you did it alone. On behalf of Global Victoria, I'd like to thank Anne-Sophie, Deirdre and Barney for sharing their insights and expertise and giving up their Tuesday evening to present to us. Thank you also to their respective organisations for making them available. Importantly, I'd also like to thank our Victorian cybersecurity community for joining us today. As previously mentioned, this was the final in our 4-part webinar series. I'd like to thank all of our speakers across the series, and in particular call out Jason Murrell from the Australian Cyber Network, Michael Birchall from the Australian Information Security Association, and Kirsten McIntosh from Something Real Ventures, who moderated the earlier webinars. I'll be posting a recording of today's session and the other webinars in one central location for future reference, and I'll inform you when this is available. I encourage you to revisit the other sessions if you missed them. They're not going to answer all of your questions, but particularly for those new or early to the market, they might give you that one idea, insight, or action that assists with your market entry and saves you some time along the way. These sessions will complement the USA Cybersecurity Market Profile document that is also being developed as part of our US Cybersecurity Trade Program. This document will explore some of the content from these webinars in more detail and will be publicly available to you all. I look forward to soon connecting with you regarding your broader export plans, and Dana's available in our Washington, D.C. office should you be ready to take the first step or increase your engagement in the US. Thank you all for joining us across the series, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.